So today I decided to go with the, how I got into football. Interestingly enough, I think I talked about this in one of my other stories, but there was a girl I was dating, not a very nice one. And the way we ended up breaking up was she dumped me because I wasn't a football player, essentially. That's not what she said in those exact words, but that's kind of what I got out of the whole thing, was that I wasn't good and I didn't play football. So I was telling my friends about this, and they laughed at me and were like, "Yeah, no, you couldn't play football, not to save your life." So it's like, well, I'll show you. So now I decided to prove them wrong. And on this quest to kind of prove not only my ex, but everyone else around me wrong, I joined the football team. The way it worked was our school is small enough where anybody who shows up is just kind of on the team. And we had to show up for summer workouts to show that we were serious, and early morning stuff. Like I'd wake up at 6 maybe to show up at 7, and it would be a 2-hour thing, 1 hour of weights and then 1 hour of outside drills. We couldn't actually touch a football because of there are rules where you're not allowed to use pads or footballs for an X amount of time up until the school year starts. So my first day was probably the best day to quit because I was miserable. The way it was we ran and worked out, and after running some more, we do what's called a cool down, and we run some laps, and then so I had to go to the bathroom at one point, and I couldn't even make it there. The way it was, there's this little building and then the school gym. I couldn't even make it. I had to go where I was gonna poop my pants. So I went behind and squat behind a building and did my business. And I think I threw up 3 times that day as well. So I was not in shape. Despite being very skinny, I was definitely not in shape. And it was miserable. But I hadn't thrown up since then. In the next 3 years, I think I threw up once in all the 3 years after that. So if there was any day to quit, it would have been that day, because that was probably the hardest day of my life. That, or one day we were pushed to do Miami's, and one of the coaches said I didn't make it, and so we all had to run again, even though I know I made it. It was a close call, but we both know I made it. He was an interesting character, that's for sure. I did not know at all what I was doing. The way it worked was we kind of decided what positions we would be in. And being who I am and out of shape, I decided to go with whatever the running time was least. I don't know how else better to describe that, but the linemen didn't have to run as much. They were bigger guys, so I became a lineman, not knowing exactly what they do. Basically, signing up without signing up, I became a lineman at 120 pounds, I think. It definitely toughened me up. I had the strength for it, for sure, so I definitely could hold my own, but it was definitely not the position for me. But I was a lineman for my first year of football, just trying to learn how everything goes. And let me tell you, football has its own language. I had to learn Italian, and that's another language, but football was something else. I was one of the most interesting things to learn, and I still learned things throughout the years. And I think I finally would have been decent had I played another year, had I had the chance. That's that. Yeah, I played football from 2015 to 2018. Got a plaque. Got a big poster. I even ended up on a website, caught a ball. It doesn't look like I caught the ball, but I caught the ball. And I ended up on our news website, our local football news website, so that was pretty cool. There was one time, there's another Ethan, actually, and there was one time, I was running with the ball, and he bumped into me and fell over, and it was because he was really injured, And I was telling people this, and I guess they misunderstood me, and they thought I was saying that I tackled him down and totally owned him. And that's not at all what I meant by it. I guess it was, well, they are kind of dumb. So it was partially probably my fault, but they're all dumb too. So the next day, he made a point of it to prove everyone that that was not the case and to show me. So he knocked the wind out of me like 3 or 4 times, but I caught that ball. I held it, but oh my gosh, he's definitely better. I never said he wasn't. It was definitely interesting. And we had this thing, Fight Club Thursday, I think it was, or Friday. I think it was Thursday. And we would be in a circle, no hitting, no kicking, but we'd have to like get the other to tap out basically, and basically like choke the other, or like have them on the ground, and somebody would be on watch because we were technically not allowed to do this. So we'd somebody on watch and scream, what was the code word? Pelican. That was it. The code word was Pelican, and so that was definitely one of the interesting aspects. Summer workouts were like really hard, but at least they were in the morning. Once you got them over with, you got to go to work or do whatever for the rest of the day. During the school year, however, that's when it became difficult because we immediately after school always went to practice, and that was always exhausting, especially when there was homework, the homework I never did, and the theater that I got kicked out of eventually, and it was definitely an experience. So my leg is shorter than my right one, and so I literally need an orthopedics, so then my hip would feel better, but I didn't know this until after football. So that was a thing, and I felt sick for the last month, and I ended up in the hospital and found out that I had mono. No, it was not from a girlfriend. I was single, so I think one of the guys had it and it got to me somehow. And so that last month I pushed myself to be there all the time and barely was able to make it. That was definitely interesting, to say the least. But I worked my butt off, yeah. There was one coach who did not like me. He was like, what, 20, 25 maybe? I don't know. He wasn't that old. But he had graduated from Stratford, so he thought he was all that. And he never really let me play. I didn't get to play too much. He hardly let me practice, even, because I was not good. So instead of doing his job and coaching me, he just decided to, I would say bench me, but we weren't allowed to sit on benches. We had to stand during the games. So that was a thing. But there were a lot of like little interesting moments and little things, just locker room stuff, and football is definitely its own culture. And now that I've been a part of it, it's nice to say that I have been, now that something I can look back on. It was both some of like the worst/best memories, I would say. There was one kid he was an idiot. He was getting into a fight with somebody, and I say that someone had said something stupid earlier that day, but he had apologized, and it had nothing to do with this kid, but this kid started picking on him. The dispute was that he had called somebody retarded, or used the word retarded. Older kid didn't like it, so he said, you're a retard yourself. You don't make fun of retards. And so I stepped in and I said, wait, so you don't want him to make fun of retards, but because he's a retard, you're making fun of him? He goes, well, and then he calls me retarded, and he goes, you're half retarded, so I can make fun of you because you only have half the chromosomes. There was so much to say there. Everybody laughed, of course, and they thought that was the funniest joke. But knowing the science of that, he sounded like an idiot. That's just not. That's not how that works. But there were a lot of stupid moments like that where it was like, And that tells me you've smoked a lot and lost a lot of brain cells. Okay, cool. And he was popular for some reason. People liked it, but he was just a butthole. So that's me in football. You know, I made some friends. I had experiences that I don't think I'd ever get rid of. It's something I will definitely cherish throughout the years. Something I'm kind of proud of too. I can, say I've been a part of a team. I may have not gotten to play much. I did probably the last 2 years. More like my junior year than my senior year for some reason. Oh, right, because I could play on junior varsity and because I wasn't good enough to be on the senior team. So when I'm a senior, I'm not allowed to be on junior varsity. So I was only able to play like maybe the end of the final quarter if we were ahead, which we won every game that year. So senior year was kind of fun then. But yeah, there we go. That's me in football. I thought that would be a nice experience to share. If you have any football experiences like that, comment below. And not because of the whole, YouTube thing. I'm just genuinely interested in other people's stories. The thing is, I don't have enough subscribers for that thing to work, so it doesn't matter. Definitely something I will never regret. Well, I think that's all I have on this subject. I feel like there's more, some I'm missing. So that's the end of another Story Time with Ethan. I hope you enjoyed. I will catch you next Friday. Bye.